What a crazy, crazy day. I said I'd be back early if the Varginha press conference gave details worth mentioning, and indeed it did. There were a lot of different accounts that are worth picking apart, and I'll probably do that in a video later this week. But this is the piece that stuck out to me as worth bringing up as soon as possible. I think everybody should hear about this and know about how this was included in the press conference. This is Jacques Vallee. He's basically the godfather of ufology. And he gave this recording to James Fox, the guy who put on this press conference, and allowed it to be aired. I don't think that he would allow his face to be connected to this at all if he didn't think that this is something that actually happened. And the things he says in this video, which I'll play in a second, basically corroborate and add credence to the idea that the Varginha case is real. So again, Jacques Vallee is basically ufology pioneer. He's the godfather. He has his hand in helping to set up the early internet. He was a big help in putting together the first digital map of Mars. And he has tons of theories and books out on what he thinks UFOs and extraterrestrials are. To put it shortly, he has a theory that the UFO phenomenon is some sort of interdimensional intelligence that basically has a control system over the Earth. That's a lot, but that's his theory, and he has a bunch of books about that as well. The thing that stuck out in this video, which I'm going to play in just a second, is that he added and kind of slipped this in, that he thinks that the UFO phenomena is related to some sort of powerful artificial intelligence, again, exerting control over the Earth. So if you take a step back and pick that apart, that means that he believes there's some sort of artificial intelligence not created by humans that has its hand in controlling and exerting force over the Earth. It's a lot to digest, but I really urge you guys to sit back and pick it apart. I think my last video, James Fox was telling Danny Jones how the guy that he spoke with, who had a 90% view of what was going on, basically says the intent is very scary. And if you start to peel back these layers, that is a very scary idea, that we might be under the control of some sort of artificial intelligence, and that our entire lives, are kind of driven in the background by this artificial intelligence. And I think if you don't slowly start to digest these ideas and pick them apart, you're in for a earth-shattering, mind-breaking moment when all this stuff starts to roll out. So maybe it is a good idea that this rolls out little by little, drip, drop, because even for me, that's it's really hard to accept. So I'm going to play this video. Again, I'll pick apart the rest of the accounts and put them all together, and probably the roundup at the end of the week. If you guys are interested in hearing those, either go watch the video yourself, or again, I'll do that and you guys can follow and expect the roundup to happen the end of this week, probably Sunday. But I'll be quiet, I'll shut up, and you guys listen to Jacques Vallee, the godfather of ufology, corroborating this Varginha incident, and again, dropping the most mind-bending, earth-shattering news that I think I've heard in my entire life.
Good afternoon. My name is Jacques Vallee. I'm speaking at the request of Mr. James Fox, because a few years ago I initiated the system of multiple databases used by a DIA-sponsored program at Bigelow Aerospace as a cleared member of a scientific team charged with study of UFO, UAP phenomena. The data warehouse system contained data about 260,000 screened reports of anomalous objects in flight, and hundreds of reports of creatures, live or dead, associated with crashed or landed vehicles of unknown provenance, including some similar to those in Virginia, thus providing useful multinational and historical context. My current research is taking us to deeper levels with new on-site analytical and physical research on historical cases such as the 1945 case in San Antonio, New Mexico, the 1964 case in Socorro, New Mexico, also, and the 1965 case in Valençol in France. In those and several others, new physical and environmental data was collected. The observations involve a total of 7 creatures, generally similar in size and general body shape to those described by the witnesses in Varginha, Brazil, and by Mr. Fox, providing both context and statistical support for current and future findings. In particular, all the creatures just mentioned breathed air normally. Beyond this, I currently serve in a private capacity on the Scientific Advisory Board of the French Government National Center for Space Studies, CNES. That unit has actively researched the UFO problem since 1975, including national cases of close encounters with the presence of occupants, a number of which I have also studied on site. It should be clear, however, that I do not represent any of these government organizations in this or any other context. The Varginha incident of 1996 in Brazil, researched and documented by James Fox, fits within cases already known in scientific and medical records, many of which have remained classified. Relaxing the classification requirements while preserving security of essential facilities such as the nuclear labs would make it possible to inform and enlist the scientific community at a higher level. Action by the executive branch to allow more open exchange would be world-changing. As the Varginha case proves, allowing more open contact at an international level would yield better understanding of the global issues. The current segmentation of the data hinders any serious research into what appears to be an extraterrestrial phenomenon empowered by advanced artificial intelligence. Open archives do exist to some extent, describing the physical and biological environment of the crafts and their occupants. Socorro and Valençol in particular, 2 unclassified cases officially deemed unidentified by multiple government agencies, have yielded evidence of traces, recovered materials, and environmental effects. But we know that much more is available. The Varginha case presents exceptional new knowledge beyond what was already known. It improves our information in 2 fundamental ways. First, in the ability to reconstruct what happened to the craft and its occupants from beginning to end. And second, in the professional description of the anatomical and behavioral features of the live creature recovered by authorities within a short time of the crash and to the point of its death. By this achievement, James' long and perilous project has opened up an entirely new field of research.
There you go. I think everybody should roll this around in their head, take a lot of time to digest the things that he said. It's crazy. One other thing that I forgot to point out that you mentioned is that all the beings that line up with what was seen in Varginha all breathed. They all breathe air. If you take a step back and think about how that might be the case, how these beings are adapted to breathe air just like us if they're not from here, really makes you think. And if you combine that with what he said about artificial intelligence, maybe, just maybe, the beings that we consider aliens are actually from here, and there's some sort of artificial intelligence that also is from here that drives these things into whatever they're doing before they crash in order to maintain control over humans. Maybe we're just some big science experiment. Who knows? But I think we're going to learn a lot this year. Maybe this is all connected to Antarctica and what's down there and the secrets held down there. But it's a lot. If you guys are interested in seeing the rest of the accounts in this Varginha press conference, again, I'll be posting a roundup later this week. Otherwise, I urge you guys to go watch yourself. It was like 3.5 hours long, but it's definitely worth it. It's earth-shattering. It's mind-bending. And if you like the things that I show here and this informed you at all, drop a like on the video. Give me a follow. I'll continue to post this stuff because I think it's probably the most important information at this point in time. Peace.